What's going on, guys? So I am making this video for a lot of you out there that are kind of struggling or trying to figure out the cannabis and the CBD industry. So if you've been watching a lot of our videos on this channel, what's going on, guys? So I am making this video for. So what we're trying to do here, so let me just make sure I get everything set up here. So if you're listening to us, that's awesome. Thank you so much for listening to our channel. If you're watching this, we're going to have some slides here that will really kind of bring in and bring together exactly what's happening in the CBD industry more specifically, right? So, our agency, Golden Lotus Media, we have a subsidiary, which is mainly called Hemp Brand Builder. And that's kind of like our hemp agency where we actually go out there into the market, help a lot of CBD companies build massive audiences, build their brand story, get their products sold. And at the end of the day, it's all about moving products from your warehouse, right? So if you actually have a CBD company out there, probably the biggest thing that you're struggling with beyond marketing is how do I get this product sold from my warehouse? And, it takes a little bit of ingenuity from a marketing standpoint, from an offline marketing standpoint. And it really takes the understanding of, what exactly are people looking for out there, right? In terms of consumers, right? And I think that's really where a lot of things get lost in translation. I mean, we've spoken to over 250 people. We have over 200 to 300 people across all of our groups. And that's not even a lot of people. But I could tell you from the conversations I've had with these individuals and from the conversations I had, when I went to MJ BizCon, which is one of the biggest marijuana, cannabis, CBD conferences in the entire planet Earth. It happens in Las Vegas. It happened there on December 11th to 13th. And I got a chance, to speak to some very successful people, some people that were looking to get into this industry, and a couple people in between, right? And I could tell you the people that are in this industry, like the OGs that actually have experience, right? And I don't really care if you have some sales online, but I'm talking about experience. I'm talking about 10, 20, 30 years under their belt in this industry. And again, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, this was not a legal industry, right? So there was a lot of challenges. So you got to really give respect to the people for kind of, bridging our way, kind of burning a path for this legalization situation to even happen, for us to even be talking about getting into the CBD industry. Like it's like, setting up a marketing agency, right? So, people out there think it's easy. It's easier than, doing it many, many years ago. With the power of the internet, with the power of leverage, you can make things happen. But I'll tell you this, guys, from all the conversations that I've had, people still don't understand demographics, right? That is the biggest opportunity when you actually understand what demographic you're going after. And I'm not talking about I'm going after females 31 to 40 that, like cannabis, right? Or I'm not talking about people that have pain that are above 50 that have arthritis, right? That is not a demographic. That is just an assumption of these are the people that would like my product, right? To be really quite frank with you guys, a demographic is something like I'm going to go after millennials that play sports, that are a certain age, that read this magazine, that, look for this particular situation, that align with these brand ambassadors out there. That's a demographic, right? That's a demographic that you can build a several $1 million company across, and I've seen it done over and over, and I see people struggling that have not figured out their demographics. So one of the biggest things, that we wanted to give back. I mean, we work with 7-8 figure companies. We want to find companies that understand the value of what it costs to acquire a customer, right? Because if it costs, let's just say $20 to acquire a $50 CBD sale, then you're going to spend as much money to acquire as many $20 customers and then work on your back end of your funnel to be able to, monetize that situation and understand your LTV, your lifetime value. So if a lot of these things that I'm talking about right now, see cost per acquisition, LTV, what it costs to acquire a customer, if these are new concepts, then you're in the right place, right? Because, one of the things myself and my team have realized with a lot of the beginner entrepreneurs or cannapreneurs that are in this space, you guys don't understand the 5 things that you got to do in order to be successful in this business, right? And we want you to be successful. So, which is why, having my background in venture capital, my partner's background in building businesses within this space, and just our whole team's ingenuity in this space, we wanted to bring you the Canna Playbook Incubator. We wanted to bring a place where we can give our attention to your business to be able to understand, what are the next steps and how you can do that and not fail and waste time. So let me kind of, move forward here. Who we are, right? So what is the Canna Playbook Incubator, right? So the Canna Playbook Incubator was designed for the cannapreneur like yourself, if you're listening, that would like a fighting chance to be able to build a successful, creative. Remember, I said the word creative because that's a very key thing. And I'm going to get into that as to why that's super important. But a successful creative cannabis and CBD company and be able to scale to 7 to 8 figures using the same strategies that we actually work with on other companies in Hemp Brand Builder, HPP Media. We use these strategies, we utilize them to build brand, solidify distribution, not just online, but also offline, right? I mean, at the end of the day, there are tons of specialty shops out there. There are tons of vape and smoke shops. I always tell my client, if you're struggling to get the marketing online going, go offline, right? Approach businesses offline that may want to, carry your product and tell them, I mean, if you're someone that's carrying multiple different products, a retailer, you're always getting foot traffic, right? So, what's stopping you from carrying CBD company A versus CBD company B on your shelf? Well, the reality is CBD company A in this example are people that just come and give product to those stores because nobody else is doing it, right? Everybody writes them off because they're all focused on the online game. That's sexy, right? But the offline game is just as powerful, if probably not more powerful than the online game, guys. If you want to be successful, you want to start moving units, you got to start thinking in moving units from your warehouse, right? We get on a phone call with a lot of people that want to do 50K a month, 10K a month, 5K a month. And, they're not even doing the mathematics that how many products do they need to move if they wanted to move, if they want to make 50,000 a month, right? And it's real simple math. It's like, okay, well, if you want to make $50,000 a month, and your average order value is $50, then you got to really focus on a strategy that's going to move 1,000 units a month. Simple. 1,000 units a month. That's going to be your goal. So whether you work with 10 shops, 20 specialty stores, whatever your plan is, in combination with online, that's the game plan, right? And that's how you're going to get successful and how you're going to chip away and make a name for yourself, right? So these are a lot of the things that we actually, obviously have a lot of automation going on and a lot of stuff for our clients, but these are a lot of the things that we figured would be super helpful for people that are just starting off to kind of get a fighting chance. Because I can tell you one thing is that in the next 18 to 24 months, this is going to be a buyer's market, right? It already kind of is, right? And I give this example. We were in MJ BizCon, and I'll tell you a story. We were sitting with a gentleman. I'm not going to mention his name, but he has been working with 7 to 8 figure companies for the past year and a half. It's all he works with. He's a branding guy. He, helps companies get their products sold by telling the right story, by connecting with the right demographic, all the topics that make, like the hairs on my back stand up, because I'm just like, God damn, like this guy knows what he's talking about. And I'll tell you one thing that he told me, and I want to share with you guys. The one thing that he told me was, this cannabis industry, guys, it's going to be very much like the alcohol industry. Especially, let's go talk more specifically the beer industry, right? What happened in the beer industry, for those of you that may have been a part of the industry, maybe you may have been an observer, but just like that industry, what happened when it first started off, when prohibition kind of ended, there's a lot of people across the country, and let's just take the United States, for example, as the example here. A lot of companies were just starting off. They're like little breweries, little alcohol distilleries, and they were taking some market share, right? And then big companies like Anheuser-Busch, Budweiser came in and just kind of bought those companies out, which was kind of the natural way of things would go. But then, now that those two companies kind of own pretty much 80% of the market share, a lot of like craft breweries for the past couple of years have been kind of coming about, and now the same cycle is happening again. Those companies are getting bought out once again, right? So what does that tell you? It tells you that you don't need to be Anheuser-Busch or Budweiser to make a lot of money. They make uber amounts of money, 100%. But if you control a portion of the market, you're doing the heavy work for the big guys, and then eventually they're just going to buy you out and you'll have a big payday, right? So really focus on your business model, really focus on your demographic. And in this day and age, you got to really focus on your list management, right? I can tell you 9 times out of 10, list management is not one of the top priorities in most people's minds. They want to collect emails, but they don't know how to manage a list, segment their data, ask that data questions, survey them. All of these things are going to be very important as you build your product line in your niche, right? So one of the things that we want to kind of give back, and what we do here in the Canna Playbook Incubator, are really these 3 pillars right here. I'm just going to go through them one by one, right? So in phase 1, what we try to do with companies and what we're trying to do with young entrepreneurs is, if you're interested in actually coming into this space and doing something, you're going to need to understand how to build a brand, right? And that doesn't just mean throwing up an Instagram account, a Facebook account. I got on my website, that's my brand, guys. It's more than that, guys. It's really understanding your story and understanding how you're going to present that story into the market, and how you're going to amplify that story coinciding with your brand assets, right? So brand growth and business advisory are going to be a key component of the foundations that you're going to lay down for your newbie CBD company or cannabis company, right? Very important. We have a whole team that can get your branding going, that can make things look beautiful, that do all of your product pictures. They're actually out here in Long Beach, California. So for those of you in the United States, all you got to do is just ship your product to us, and we'll take all the pictures, do 2 videos, hire the models, do the whole shebang, get your website done, get it, working like kind of a Shopify store, but you want to build it on WordPress. You don't want to build it on Shopify or Square, even though we can, because you want to own all your assets, right? We always talk about owning your own assets, because when someone's going to buy you out, if tomorrow Shopify pulled the plug, which they did do this in 2018, and in the beginning of 2019, they pulled the rug from CBD companies, and there was like a whole bunch of people scattering to like, okay, now I got to switch my website up from Shopify over to WordPress all of a sudden, right? Happened to one of our clients that did about $800,000 in revenue and was selling their business for $3.5 million. I mean, before that deal could go through, they had to switch their website up, and that was a whole big ass headache. I can tell you that straight up. So, phase 1, getting the right advice and building it the right way is going to be important. Now, as you pass different ceilings, as you pass 10K, 20K, 30K a month, there are going to be different systems, different processes that you're going to have to focus on, right? So when you focus on different systems and you focus on different processes, That's what's going to sustain your business and enable not only your business to grow, but you're going to be having to focus on customer service, right? So that's super important as you build this company. As you get leads or as you get customers, you're going to have to understand what system and process I need to build in order to keep customers to coming back, so I can increase my LTV, the lifetime value of your customer, right? And then when it makes sense on phase 3, we do help companies structure their financials, streamline their operations, and make them look great for a company to buy them out at the highest valuation, right? So, I'll give you a little tidbit here. So let's just say you're selling CBD, right? And you make it to $1 million a year in revenue, okay? And you want to sell your company. If you just made that $1 million based on selling product one time, and then maybe some people come back and buy it again, but it's just these transactions, the bunch of transactions. So let's just say you've done, I'm going to do the math with you guys right here. I'm just taking out my calculator. If I did $1 million in top line revenue, my average order value is 50. That's basically 20,000 units. So you sold 20,000 units, right, of CBD. Your valuation would probably be 1.2x, right? If you got really lucky with someone that's not as, that's kind of more hungry out there to just throw money at you, you might get 2x from that, which is great, right? You spent the same amount of time, 12 months, you made that, 2 million on a $1 million revenue, right? You got your money, you walk away. What a lot of people don't understand is, let's just say you sold the same 20,000 units, right? Divide that by 12, that's 1,666. So let's just say you even just sold 1,500 units a month, right? That's not even a lot of units, right? Times 12, 18,000 units, right? 18,000 units times 50, that's $900,000. So a little bit less than $1 million, right? So it's not the same thing as the previous example. But let me show you something. Let's just say you got those 1,500 units because people were signing up to like a value plan or a club or a community, and they were reoccurring customers, right? To get 1,500 people to pay 3 times in a row to refill their CBD. Let's just say that whole $900,000 was reoccurring revenue because you installed a monthly reoccurring type of plan, like a Dollar Shave Club would do. Your multiple would definitely be 4 to 5x. So you multiply that 900,000, let's just say times 4. Now your valuation is $3.6 million, right? You're making more money in selling less product just because you thought about the business model a tad bit differently. Okay, so that's really the ingenuity that we want you guys to take advantage of, because at the end of the day, like if I was someone buying your company and I knew you had predictable revenue, I'm super excited. I'll pay 5x for that because I know that you got a data set that is very much engaged with your brand and you really did a great job with people kind of coming back, right? So that's really at the end of the day, you need to realize that, having these business models is super important. At the end of the day, that's really what we want all of you people to take advantage of, because if you could take advantage of these type of strategies, that's what's going to save you time and you're going to make way more money. And that's really what we want to give to new CBD companies out there, if you're interested, right? So let's move forward. What is the market and the opportunity? Because I think that's super important. For those of you that are interested in this kind of information, you guys are going to find this really cool. So what are the current trends in the CBD industry? Big Pharma is positioning themselves already, right? Medical cannabis sales for 2019 alone will reach a projected $5.9 billion. That's this year. We're already in December of 2019, so this is already happening. So poaching $4 billion from Big Pharma's bottom line really is what medical cannabis is doing, right? But look at the partnerships that are happening out there. The partnership between Novartis, right, and Tilray, the partnership will enable international distribution of medical marijuana. Now we have another company, TerraTech and OneCore, which OneCore is a pharmaceutical company. The two companies will join forces to create new pharmaceutical growth opportunities again, in the cannabis space. So big pharma is positioning themselves. Let's talk about tobacco. Big tobacco. The tobacco industry is not going to be left out of this, guys. The tobacco industry continues to see a slump in sales as a result of declining smoking rates. I mean, this is happening. You guys have probably just lived through the whole vaping epidemic, right? Even though it was vitamin E acetate oil, for those of you that have been following that, it doesn't matter. You know, the scare is there. People are scared. People don't trust it. So what we're trying to do here is trying to see what can tobacco do to diversify their revenue. That's how big guys think, right? So tobacco giant Altria, also a predominant company within the Juul family, invested 1.8 billion for a 45% stake in the Kronos Group. It's another cannabis related group out there. Imperial Brands paid 75 million for a 21% stake in Oxley, another cannabis related brand, right? So they are diversifying their revenue, right? The big guys are going to be playing with the big players. And then when you small guys kind of figure your situation out, you're going to have a chance to get bought out. You see how this is kind of playing out? Alcohol, another huge industry. I know we all drink alcohol. I love wine, you know, and I love a little Japanese whiskey. But check this out. Alcohol consumption is declining with demographics playing a role in changing tastes, right? Nearly half of the alcohol consumers in the US now also consume cannabis, guys. People are not drinking much alcohol anymore, and people are getting smarter. And the young generation specifically, they want cannabis. They don't want alcohol. I know I was a big, I mean, I still am a big, you know, a pusher and a big advocate of cannabis over alcohol. If you're going to want to feel good and chill, I'd rather smoke some weed than to want to smoke, or not smoke, but drink some alcohol, just given the health effects. It's not a you know, a rocket science question here, guys, but cannabis consumers consuming alcohol, declining. Alcohol consumers consuming cannabis, increasing. Okay. Real simple. So what does Molson Coors do? Products soon entering the Canadian market will include non-alcoholic CBD infused drinks. It's happening. Constellation Brands has invested $5 billion for a 38% stake. For those of you that know, Canopy Growth is one of the biggest companies in Canada doing this cannabis game, right? This is what's happening at the 30,000 foot big dog view, right? In alcohol and tobacco and pharmaceuticals. Okay, so if that's what's happening there, let's talk about the market size, right? What does this opportunity look like for at least CBD, right? For at least CBD. So here's the global breakdown in 2018. The Americas, and I'm talking about Canada, I'm talking about North America, the United States, as well as Mexico and Central America. Just in general, the Americas is 78.1% of the whole CBD market. The next big guy in line is Europe, right? So for those of you that live out in Europe, your country is having also a major boom, right? More countries around the world are opening their door to CBD in every country, even Asia Pacific. I mean, if you guys didn't know, China is the second largest producer of hemp out there. And CBD is not a psychoactive situation. So you're going to see it involved with a lot more products, a lot more tinctures. You know, we're bringing back the plant medicine. So if you're about that life, this is what is happening, right? You know, South Africa, 1.3%, very small, but huge opportunity over there. And Asia Pacific is 9%. So if you're in North America, which I'm most likely most of you guys watching this video are probably somewhere in the Americas, you know, you got to really realize that, you know, you guys have a huge opportunity right now in front of you, right? So let's look at interest over time, right? The popularity of the CBD market has exploded in the last number of years, with growth skyrocketing this year, right? So if you look at 10 years ago, I always like to look at situations in what happened in the last decade. You can see in November of 2009, interest was kind of low, right? And as you can see, it skyrocketed pretty much in 2017 is kind of probably when most people even heard of CBD, the molecule, and it just kind of exploded, right? Because given legalization statewide, the farm bill in America, and now it's just like literally ready to just explode to the next level, going into 2020 to 2023. I can tell you When I went to MJ BizCon, there was a graph there that they had in the hallway that's projecting just the American sales to be $30 billion. They're also expecting about 20 billion in Europe. So these numbers are not just going to fly out into a bank account just like that. It's going to come from new consumers, new people getting interested. And it's just a great time to get in and figure out your niche, because there's so many people that know CBD. So it's not about talking about CBD. It's about either educating the market or talking about the quality of the product, guys, right? So overall, $45 billion market. The CBD, the global CBD projected market growth. Right now it was 1.9 billion in 2018. Bam, we went from 1.9 billion, we 10x, to 2024. It's going to be 10x to 20 billion in some estimates. But overall, the whole cannabinoid market, I'm talking THC, CBD, CBG, CBN, and all the other cannabinoids and products that are coming out, $45 billion projected market. Okay. That is going to happen with a lot more niches knowing about the product specifically for their niche and how it can help them, right? So there's a lot of opportunity for you to get in to explain to your niche why you need CBD and what you need to use it for. Okay. The US market size, let's just look at the United States of America, right? So here are just two different sources, Cohen and Co. and BDS Analytics. And it's projected to be literally, from 2018, and we're looking at from 2025, really, guys, 16 to $20 billion, that's massive growth. And we're just on 2019. So we're about to hit this high speed fast lane to growth. And, if you want to still be around, and let me tell you something, I don't want to scare anybody out there, but I can tell you from my friends in the FDA, right? And we have a couple of people in our network that have worked for the FDA. So they do compliance all day. I'm not a compliance person, but we have these people in our network that we will have in the Canna Playbook Incubator. They can tell you by looking at your assets, by looking at your website, by looking at your content, whether you're compliant or not. And this is going to be super important, because what's going to happen when we get on this fast lane highway, a lot of people, and just in the past like 2-3 weeks, there's about 20 companies taken down, right? Sent a notice from the FDA. And this is just going to be the trend, because what happened with the FDA and Facebook and Google is they have a direct line where they can send out these web crawlers. It's kind of like how SEO works. As Google has these web crawlers to look at all of your websites and crawl it to see what kind of content you have on it, to rank your stuff. Just as much as that technology does that, the FDA's technology looks for people selling CBD, and they're crawling your social accounts. So if you don't have your influencers doing you the right deal and hashtagging it the correct way, you're going to get shut down. They're going to call your Facebook account. You're going to get shut down. They'll obviously call your website. Things are not in order. You're going to get shut down. So we want to avoid this issue for you. And in order to avoid this issue and this kind of highway that we're going on, you got to understand the rules and regulations. So that is just like, a foundational rule if you're playing in this market, because just as much as this industry is going to grow, you might pop out of this industry just because you didn't take, your Instagram post down that was not the right post to put, or controlling how your brand ambassadors are showing your products, right? So these are very small things that in your mindset and most people's mindset out there. I know when we first got in, we were not thinking about a lot of this stuff, but I'm telling you guys, it's super important. So we want you to succeed. Now, how do you get in properly? And maybe you're already in, maybe you are struggling, maybe you're past 5,000 and you're trying to reach your $10,000 mark. How do you get in? How do you leverage what information we have? How does it all work, right? So, the one thing I can tell you guys, this entire situation works after being compliant and all that good stuff and having a brand, is learning how to obtain attention, right? This is an attention associated market, that we're in. Marketing is an intention associated situation. We are bombarded by messages from all different directions. So you want to be able to get attention, right? And demand attention for your brand and show up in the right place at the right time, right? And this is a little cool graphic that we made here. As you can see, attention is money, right? There's a battle on attention every day in the market. People's attention is the new and only currency to fuel your brand, guys. So, you know the drill. I'm not really here teaching you anything brand new. It's just a question of how can you get that attention? How can you slip your brand in that stream, right? Here's another little cool stat that we want to point out. A lot of you guys out there very focused on Facebook. A lot of you guys out there might be focused on Instagram. Some of you, some other platforms, Snapchat. This is just showing you that, the interest over time is going down on Facebook, unfortunately, right? Now, for the older generation, I can tell you, if you want to market to the older generation, you might want to stay on Facebook. It's good, right? But at the end of the day, Facebook attention is going down, Instagram attention is going up, right? So Instagram is probably where you want to be, and especially with intention, increasing on Instagram, influenced attention, influencers that already have attention amongst their followers. You want to work with those people, right? Plain and simple. And you want to be able to create content, and content is going to be king for your brand, right? If you don't have content of other people using your product, there's really no point in being in the game, right? You're in the game, you're wasting your time and you're wasting your money. So you got to get people, using your product. And if it's not people that have bought your product and reviewing it, then it should be, influencers, content creators, right? You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just use exactly what people are doing, right? So we always break things down into 3 different areas, guys. Obviously everybody out there knows organic traffic. We know SEO, all of that stuff. It takes a very long time to actually succeed upon and succeed in. But paid traffic is like, the fast daddy. And that's like what everybody wants to get involved in. But with paid traffic comes rules and regulations of the different networks like Facebook, Instagram, anywhere you want to run traffic, paid traffic, they're going to have their own rules, right? But network influence traffic, it's some of the cheapest traffic in town, and it is influence, right? So again, even if you do paid traffic, you're attacking cold people, right? They don't even know your brand. But if I work with an Instagram influencer, they know the influencer and allow the influencer to tell your story. That's the secret sauce. That's why e-commerce works so well on Instagram when you work with influencers, if you do it the right way. Our elite advisory program, guys, the Canna Playbook Incubator, you will understand how to obtain a percentage of the market share for yourself. And hopefully, if you stick with us for a long time, build your business and sell it, right? Because this is a fast game. This is not like I'm going to build this business over the next 5-6 years, keep it in my family. Maybe one day someone's going to buy it out. You got to be ready in the next year. You got to be ready in the next year, 2 years, really, with a really legit business. And if you're not ready, and if you're just trying to figure it out, you're just going to miss out on one of the biggest opportunities. Like a lot of people thought, and I'm a fan, but a lot of people thought that Bitcoin was a huge opportunity. A lot of people thought that their families were going to get massively rich. They're about to cash out, get all this Bitcoin because it was going up. I'm not saying it's a fad. All I'm saying is that it is something that not everybody understood all of the fundamental and the dynamics, right? But what I can tell you from my experience, business is a very different thing than Bitcoin, right? Business is you control a market share. The big guys are going to buy you out. And in this fast-paced industry, if you want to build a brand, it's never been the best time, because even isolate prices, private label prices are real cheap right now. Where like with anything in business, you definitely need some funding, $10,000, $20,000 to get started, right? And a lot of you that already have your own brands probably already know that you probably spent pretty much close to that to get this thing started, right? And this is your baby at this point, right? You're invested into it. And if you really want to make this thing work for you guys, and you need to be able to move fast, you need to be able to move quick and acquire at least 1,000 customers a month. If you're not acquiring 1,000 customers a month, no company's going to really want to look at you, right? Because you're not even approaching $1 million a year, or your business is under $1 million. It's a sexy concept. Like I told you, we work with a company. They had about $800,000 in top line revenue, and this was in 2017. right? Where interest was thick, it was very much a time that was growing, but the valuation that they got was $3.5 million. That kind of shit's not going to happen and fly in 2020. I can tell you that much, right? People are looking at the metrics. They're looking at what they bought. They're looking at the business models that these companies are deploying. Is it a one-time, Trick Charlie model where you're just selling transactional type basis, or are you getting customers to come back? Do you have a value-based program? Do you have a community for your CBD brand? Do you have these other factors that will increase the equity, the valuation? Super, super important. So I don't really care where you are in the world. We're doing this because, we know that we want to work with the best. And, at the end of the day, I was having a conversation with my partner, and a lot of these big guys that have kind of figured it out to some extent are really, honestly, guys, not that great of companies, right? You guys can come in there and cut down Goliath with 1-2 swipes, because that's just the way the internet works, right? That's just the way. If you know different strategies, you can come out as a newbie and still take the market. So that's just the reality, which is why we realized, hey, you know what? There's a lot of smart people out there that have some great ideas. They just need a little bit of the right fundamentals against the situation, right? So we want to help you with that with our experience. And so that way maybe you can come out there and we can help you sell your company. And to be honest with you, we only take like 1%, 2%, whatever it makes sense, however much effort we give you. But what we want to look for, and sometimes we might not even take any percent, at the end of the day, our program is our program. It's very separate. But if you want us to get more involved, then, we can talk about that. But the first 12 months of the program is to laying down that foundation, laying down that brick road so that you could walk on something when comes 2021, 2022, right? Because if you're not walking on something, if you're not growing your company, you are absolutely throwing away an amazing opportunity that you may honestly could be successful in. This is one of the easiest games to be successful in, guys. So what does the incubator have in it? That's what a lot of people ask us, what does the incubator have? So the incubator, honestly, if you guys are not familiar with the word incubator, this is not like a crib for babies, but, just like the word, it's to nurse new ideas. I know a lot of people I talk to are very excited about this niche, but they just need the right connections to make it happen, right? We have connections from seed all the way to sale, right? We have cultivators, we have manufacturers, we have influencers, we have offline distribution. So we have all this already. That's what we do in our agency. So we want to take those resources and provide those resources to like a student group. And this is not for like thousands of people. Like I'm talking maybe 50 to 100 people, and that's it, right? So in our incubator, we have advisory, which we always start with advisory. We always start with advice. Obviously, if you're going to get into the CBD game, we have merchant processing figured out. We're one of the biggest guys out there that can get you merchant processing right away. We'll talk about programmatic traffic. You definitely want to tap into programmatic traffic. It has geolocation. It has cannabis consumption as data points that you can kind of tap into. These are important things because then you can really it's all about showing your product and your brand to more eyeballs that are, again, the right place at the right time. Creating an influence affiliate network, getting distributors through your constituents, right? Using influencers as affiliates, using, people that are really into your niche as your distributors, like an MLM company would use. Very, very big key thing. Brand collaborations, that's also super duper important, right? If you are a great CBD company, you might want to collaborate with another type of brand and do some kind of co-branded thing, right? Nike does it all the time. Adidas does it all the time. Audi, big car companies do it all the time. So you could do it as well, right? On a very more micro level. And that just shows sophistication in your business model if you did do it. Influencer collaborations, like I just mentioned, super, super important. Influence traffic, IG, everybody knows about. TikTok is another area that we're diving into, that we're getting a lot of people that are kind of focusing on the younger generation, the younger brands. And to be honest with you, just like Instagram, it was for young people, and now it's for a more eclectic group of people. Same thing is going to happen with TikTok, no different. It's just more newer, but it's big, so it's going to happen. Brand strategy, having your products pictures taken, all of that stuff in-house taken care of. Systems and scaling processes, what we use to scale, how we scale, what campaigns we use, the templates, all that good stuff. We're going to be talking about it. We're going to be helping you structure that. And then again, when the time comes, we have a full network of people that are just ready to buy different companies. So we want to align you with the right partner that's looking to buy companies out, buy your company out perhaps. So if you're looking to go down that route, right? Global distribution, that's super simple because, when you have influencers in other areas, they can start that interest, right? I always give this example, the Popeye chicken example, right? Popeye chicken, if I talked to you about Popeye's chicken sandwich 5 years ago, you wouldn't have understood it, right? You probably would be like, yeah, I heard about Popeye's restaurant, but nobody was, raving about the chicken sandwich at all, and I live in the United States, right? So for those of you who may not be in the United States, you may not know this example, you may have heard of it, but people in the United States know this, right? You know about the Big Mac, the Whopper all day long, but the chicken sandwich, not so much until it became kind of famous this year. Everybody that knows that was one of the best influencer marketing campaigns personally that I've ever seen. It increased their stock price. They controlled supply because they could, and you can do the same thing with your brand. Right? That's the way that you create demand. What clubs do when a new club opens, they have nobody on the inside. I used to work for a couple of clubs as a club manager, and we didn't have anybody on the inside, but we want to still keep a line because a line outside the door shows popularity, right? So you use the same psychological techniques to really kind of get people to say, hey, this is a really good brand. So, with global distribution, if you want to play that same game with global distribution, you can, right? With influencers talking about your product, getting it out there in the mainstream in the right language, whatever you want to do, you could do the same thing and control supply if you're working with some kind of offline location as well too, or just control supply online, right? So, a lot of tactics that a lot of people are not thinking about, but all of these things you probably see and you just got to implement it in your business, guys. So some of the resources we have pretty much, are the standard resources that come with our incubator. We have office hours, so we have a link. You could book a time anytime with us if you're interested, and we obviously dive into your campaigns, talk about stuff, talk about structure, business, operations, whatever have you, right? That's the point of office hours, kind of just like college. We have a private Facebook group that, we're going to put you inside. We obviously are very strong on community, so we encourage you to ask the right questions, help the community out. But it's a great way to get access to us all the time. Group coaching, we have group coaching calls every Friday to keep you on track. During those office hours, once a month, we're going to sit down with you and map out your goals. How are we moving 100 units, so-and-so? How are we getting to 1,000 units, so-and-so? What's the strategy, right? And we're going to do a lot of math, because without math, none of this stuff is going to move forward, guys. I'm trying to tell you that straight up. I've been in this, marketing game for a while. I've been in the business game for over a decade. You got to put numbers on an Excel sheet or whatever paper, but you got to break down the numbers, right? How much are you going to sell every day, every week, every month? Super important. Okay. Membership site, we have a lot of information already pre-recorded that you're going to take advantage of. We're going to break down how we do our media buying process, how we launch our campaigns, how we do influencer marketing. No need for us to talk about that again. It's all recorded. You can access it at your own convenience. Accountability, like I said, that's going to be the biggest thing here, guys. Accountability is like the glue that makes this entire thing stick. If you're not accountable, if no one's holding you accountable, like when you were young, your mother held you accountable to wake up, get breakfast, take a shower, brush your teeth, right? Which is why your teeth haven't fallen out yet. So, if you don't brush your teeth, or you don't wake up, or you don't do something every day, you're never going to build that muscle. And we realize that as people that have, I've been in venture capital, we do this with our portfolio companies. We're going to do it with you as well too. We want you to be successful. And then access to myself, my team, everybody that, we work with, you'll have access to us. One of the things is we want to make sure that you're covered. We want to make sure that you get access where access is needed. And honestly, we're not one of those people that, you get into our program and we're like ghosts that you can never touch us. We're on the beach somewhere. We are in the trenches with you guys. So keys to success is just a couple things that I just want to like to share with people. You know, process in this game is everything. So please follow, please follow the process for your success. Asking questions, there is no stupid questions. Ask questions, bring your major issues on our Friday coaching calls. If you do join us, we would love to have you. And honestly, there's never failure, guys. In life, there's only feedback, right? So if you guys feel like you're failing or you're not successful or things are not going right, just realize that it's just the universe telling you that you got to figure something else out, or you got to find a solution in a different manner, different way. You can't keep doing the same things over and over again. Okay. So now what's the next steps? If you really want to kind of get involved, if anything that we've said to you rang a bell, if you're just interested in finding out more, maybe we didn't cover something that you have a question on, really honestly, book an appointment, right? So we'll, in order to get into our program, it's an application process, like anything that's, 12 months long. We do have 3 payment plans for you. So we'll work with you on that. But at the end of the day, the cost of this program is a fraction of what you can make in this industry, right? If you want to build a 7-figure, even a 6-figure, company that's going to get sold for 4 to 5 multiples, it's a pay to play game. Everybody knows that. If you don't know that, well, welcome to that game. But if you want to book an appointment, there'll be a link below this video that we'll add. And we look forward to chatting with you about your CBD company, about your ambitions, about where you're trying to go with this stuff. And we hope we can work together and help you move that dream along. Thanks, guys, for listening, and I will catch you guys later.